Sarah Taylor knew the rhythm of a ledger better than her own pulse. For 15 years at Transcend Corporation, she'd been the unseen guardian of the company's financial heartbeat, balancing books that kept the mid-tier logistics firm afloat through recessions, mergers, and market crashes. Her desk, nestled in a quiet corner of the fourth-floor accounting wing, was a bastion of order. Stacks of binders labeled with quarterly audits, a reliable calculator from her college days, and a mug inscribed with number cruncher extraordinaire that had faded from countless dishwasher cycles. Transcend had evolved from a small warehouse operation in Dallas to a national player with branches in 10 states, all thanks to her meticulous work, spotting discrepancies in vendor payments, flagging tax loopholes before IRS audits, and maintaining compliance reports that ensured millions in grants and contracts flowed uninterrupted. She'd joined as a junior accountant, straight out of business school with a degree in finance and a minor in data analytics. The early years were etched in her memory. Late nights poring over spreadsheets in a dimly lit office, the satisfaction of catching a fraudulent invoice that saved the company $50,000, the camaraderie with the founder who trusted her instincts. Over time, she rose not through flashy presentations, but through unflinching accuracy. Colleagues dubbed her the ledger queen, but to executives she was finance ops, essential yet invisible. Then Jack Reed arrived as the new CFO, a role created amid board pressure for aggressive expansion. He barreled in like a bull in a bull market, his slicked-back hair and designer suits screaming, "Wall Street Wunderkind." His first town hall was a spectacle. 40 minutes of reimagining fiscal dominance, while accountants exchanged skeptical glances over Teams chat. Sarah sat in the middle row, her pen tapping her notebook, noting his promises of $1 billion valuation through modernized workflows. To Jack, she was legacy baggage. He emailed a vague budget overhaul plan. Streamline redundancies. Sarah, focus on digital pivot, ensure scalability pop. She revised it by 4 a.m., correcting inflated projections that could trigger audits, color-coding risks for the C-suite. Emailed. Updated, ready for review. No reply. Jack networked with investors like Victoria Hale, a VC shark known for exposing financial weaknesses. Sarah had met her during a grant audit, explaining ledger protocols crisply. Victoria nodded. "You're the real keeper here." Sarah brushed it off. Jack's changes turned the office into a whirlwind of buzzwords and chaos. He pushed a digital ledger system to attract a mega acquisition from Apex Capital, outsourcing audits, rushing digitization. Sarah saw the pitfalls, data migration errors, untested integrations that could expose financial vulnerabilities, compliance breaches risking federal grants. She flagged them in memos. Jack's slack. Caution noted, but velocity first. The quarterly all-hands was his stage. The auditorium buzzed. Managers with notepads, analysts with laptops, Victoria in front. Jack pitched, "Sunsetting legacy bloat for exponential growth." Slide 4. Obsolete ledger, her photo next to consultant transition. "Sarah's contributions invaluable," he said, voice oily. "But we're evolving." Eyes turned, whispers. Sarah didn't flinch, her face calm. "Jack, this is about the future." Applause sparse. Victoria's hands folded. Sarah tucked her notebook, stood, heels echoing as she walked out, past interns avoiding gazes, past her office being cleared, past the lobby plaque listing her as lead auditor on key grants. No stop, assumed done. In the lobby, glass reflecting city hustle, Sarah paused. Severance low, 3 months pay, non-compete. Her phone buzzed. Victoria Hale's office. "Asked for you." Pulse quickened. Didn't reply. Drove home, apartment cozy with finance books, high-end workstation. Logging into personal VPN. Still connected. Jack's team overlooked. She dug into the ledger. There, a secret backup she'd built in 2018 for auditing. An encrypted drive tracking every transaction, hidden in plain sight as family recipes. It could expose anomalies, like Jack's suspicious reallocations. The drive wasn't malicious. It was insurance. But now, leverage. Inbox pinged. Victoria. Answered. "Didn't expect you'd walk out." Sarah. "Not invited to stay." Victoria. Back to firm Jack tanked. Promised stars, delivered voids. You kept Transcend's books clean. Offered link. Investor clause for audit. Proof and proxy needed. Sarah. Fire him? Victoria. Erase him. Ledgers don't forget. Neither should you. Sarah opened notebook, wrote, Silent ledger live. Apartment charged, plan forming. Jack thought he'd deleted her. He hadn't balanced the books deep enough. Sarah Taylor stepped out of the boardroom, the echo of her new title, Director of Financial Integrity, still hanging in the air like a quiet victory bell. The hum of Transcend Corporation's fourth floor had shifted, the once chaotic finance wing now carrying a subtle rhythm, as if the ledgers themselves exhaled relief after Jack Reed's exit. His badge, turned red, lay discarded at security, a symbol of his overreach. Victoria Hale's voice lingered from the call. You've got the books now. Balance them. Sarah's notebook, tucked under her arm, bore her latest note. Control restored. But control wasn't enough. She needed to stabilize the system, ensure her ledger's truth wouldn't be buried again under Jack's digital delusions. The next morning, 22 September 2025, or 7 a.m., Sarah arrived early, her desk reclaimed. Its familiar clutter a comfort. The digital ledger system Jack had championed was a mess. Unverified entries, duplicate payments, and offshore reallocations flagged as consulting fees. She logged into the shadow admin panel she'd never disclosed, her access still intact, and began a forensic audit. The Apex Capital prep file revealed more. $2.3 million diverted to a shell company, Reed Solutions, with no board approval. She cross-checked with her secret ledger. Family recipes, finding matching anomalies from 2023, predating Jack's tenure. A pattern emerged. Kickbacks masked as vendor bonuses, a scheme to inflate growth for the acquisition. She encrypted the evidence, labeling it Apex Fraud Log, and backed it up to a private cloud. By noon, the finance team buzzed with unease. Alex Kim, back after reconsidering his resignation, approached her desk. Jack's mess is unraveling, he said, handing over a printout of failed payment reconciliations. Vendor X rejected a $500,000 invoice, said our compliance signature's invalid. Sarah nodded, recalling her contract's clause 892. Without her certification, all financial approvals were void. She reviewed the ledger, noting Jack's attempt to reassign her authority to a junior analyst, Chloe, who'd misspelled audit in a report. He didn't read the fine print, she murmured, adding the incident to her log. Lunch brought a meeting with Robert Hale, who'd summoned her to a corner cafe. His eyes, tired but sharp, scanned her over a black coffee. Jack's gone, but the damage lingers, he said. Apex is pulling back, heard whispers of irregularities. Sarah slid her encrypted drive across the table. This has it all. Reallocations, kickbacks, bypasses. Clause 892 locks it without my sign-off. Robert's jaw tightened. You held the key all along? She nodded. Built it to protect, not destroy. He signed a board directive for a full investigation, muttering, should have kept you closer. That afternoon, Sarah convened the finance team in the now quiet auditorium. Faces ranged from relieved to wary. Interns who'd cheered Jack, analysts who'd stayed silent. She projected the ledger's clean data against Jack's chaotic entries. This is what kept us compliant, she said, voice steady. What he broke, we'll fix. Alex raised a hand. Chloe tried signing a tax form. IRS bounced it. Laughter broke the tension. Sarah assigned tasks. Alex to reconcile payments, a senior to audit offshore accounts. The team rallied, a unit reborn under her lead. By evening, the first ripple hit. An IRS pre-audit notice arrived, triggered by a vendor complaint about invalid signatures. Sarah reviewed it calmly, her ledger providing a counter-narrative to Jack's rushed filings. She drafted a response, citing Clause 892, and sent it to legal with a note, awaiting board approval. Her phone buzzed. Victoria. Apex is nervous. They want proof of stability. Can you deliver? Sarah. By Friday. Victoria. Good. I'll hold them off. Late that night, 11:42 p.m., Sarah sat at her workstation, the city lights casting shadows on her screen. She cross-referenced Jack's emails with ledger entries, finding a $1.5 million discrepancy tied to consulting upgrades. A quick search linked it to a firm owned by Jack's brother-in-law. She flagged it, encrypted it, and added it to Apex fraud log. The office was silent, but the system hummed. Alive, responsive, hers. She sipped cold coffee, noting, evidence mounting. Wednesday brought chaos. Vendors called, demanding payment validations. The IRS notice escalated to a formal inquiry, citing potential non-compliance. Jack's former assistant, Lisa, approached Sarah, trembling. "He told me to sign off on those reallocations," she whispered. "I didn't know." Sarah patted her shoulder. "Bring me the files." Lisa complied, handing over a stack of unsigned forms. Sarah logged them, noting, "Witness secured." By Thursday, the boardroom was a war zone. Robert chaired, Victoria present via video. "Audit findings?" he asked. Sarah presented. 3.8 million in questionable transactions, invalid signatures, IRS risks. She played Jack's email. "Optimize later, deliver now." Silence. Victoria. "Apex won't touch this without a clean slate." Robert. "Options?" Sarah. "Reinstate my authority, audit fully, prosecute if needed." The vote was unanimous. Jack's name was struck from records. Sarah left, passing the finance wing, its hum steady. Her phone buzzed. "Victoria. You've got the ledger. Use it." She opened her drive, added, "Justice begins." The night was young, and the books were hers to balance. Sarah Taylor stood at the edge of Transcend Corporation's finance wing, the hum of the servers a steady pulse beneath her feet as the clock struck 9:03 a.m. on Friday, 6th September 2025. The board's decision to reinstate her authority had shifted the air, less frantic, more deliberate. The glass-walled office, once a stage for Jack Reed's grandiose promises, now reflected her silhouette, a quiet figure reclaiming her domain. Her encrypted drive, labeled Family Recipes, sat securely in her laptop bag, its contents a fortress of financial truth. 3.8 million in questionable transactions, offshore kickbacks and IRS pending violations tied to Jack's tenure. Victoria Hale's directive echoed, "You've got the ledger, use it." Sarah's notebook, now a war journal, bore her latest entry. Justice begins. But justice wasn't a single strike. It was a campaign, and she intended to win every battle. Her first move was to audit the audit. She convened the finance team in the repurposed auditorium, its rows filled with analysts, accountants, and the nervous intern Chloe, who'd once tried signing tax forms with a shaky hand. Sarah projected the clean ledger data she'd maintained for 15 years against Jack's chaotic digital overlay. "This," she pointed to her ledger, "is our backbone. What he built was a house of cards." Alex Kim, now her deputy, distributed printouts of the Apex fraud log, highlighting the $2.3 million diversion to Reed Solutions. Gasps rippled. "We rebuild from here," she said, assigning tasks. Alex to trace offshore accounts, Lisa to compile witness statements, a senior to liaise with legal. The team nodded, their trust in her palpable. By noon, the IRS inquiry escalated. An agent, Mark Ellis, arrived with a briefcase and a no-nonsense demeanor, his suit creased from a long drive. Sarah met him in a conference room, her ledger and contract clause 892 in hand. "We flagged non-compliance on Q3 filings," Ellis said, flipping open a file. Sarah slid her evidence across the table. Invalid signatures, unverified reallocations, and Jack's emails dismissing warnings. "These were unauthorized without my certification," she explained, citing the clause. Ellis raised an eyebrow. "You held the key?" She nodded. "Still do." He requested a full submission by Monday, his tone softening. "This could save you a fine or cost someone else." She emailed the board. IRS demands compliance audit. Prepared to deliver. That afternoon, vendor calls flooded the switchboard. Transcend's largest client, Horizon Logistics, threatened to pull a $10 million contract unless payment validations were restored. Sarah traced the issue to Jack's reassigned payment system, which lacked her oversight. She logged into the shadow admin panel, revoked Chloe's access, still active despite her exit, and manually verified each transaction against her ledger. By 5 p.m., she'd cleared 80% of the backlog, emailing Horizon, validations restored. Audit pending. Their reply, proceeding cautiously. Expect update. Relief mixed with pressure. She noted, vendor stability critical. Late that night, 11:15 p.m., Sarah pored over the Apex fraud log at home, her apartment aglow with city lights. The $1.5 million discrepancy tied to Jack's brother-in-law's firm gnawed at her. She cross-referenced it with board minutes, finding no approval. A deeper dive into email archives revealed Jack's assistant, Lisa, had flagged it as unusual months ago, only to be ignored. Sarah called Lisa, voice calm. "Did you keep records?" Lisa hesitated, then confessed. "A backup on my personal drive." She sent it. Emails, notes, a memo Jack had shredded. Sarah added it to her dossier, labeling it Lisa's testimony, her alliance strengthening. Saturday, 27th September 2025, brought a board emergency call. Robert Hale chaired, Victoria on video, legal counsel present. "Status?" Robert asked. Sarah presented. $3.8 million in fraud, IRS pressure, vendor threats. She played Lisa's memo audio, Jack's voice dismissing it. Minor oversight. Victoria. Apex is out unless we prove integrity. Legal advised. Prosecute Jack. Reinstate Sarah's full authority. Robert. Motion. Unanimous. Sarah's title expanded to Chief Financial Oversight, her ledger now the official record. She noted, authority cemented. Sunday, she visited the office, its silence eerie. The finance wing's hum was steady, but the copier bore Jack's old poster. Compliance, complacency, in Comic Sans. She tore it down, replacing it with a printed ledger page. Her phone buzzed. Horizon. Audit satisfactory. Contract renewed. She exhaled, adding, first win. But the IRS loomed. She drafted a 50-page compliance report, cross-referencing her ledger with federal guidelines, ensuring every I was dotted. By midnight, she sent it, noting, IRS deadline met. Monday, 29 September 2025, 9 a.m. Mark Ellis returned, his team in tow. Sarah led them through the ledger, explaining each entry, her voice a steady current. Ellis nodded. This holds. We'll recommend a warning, not a penalty, pending Jack's cooperation. He handed her a subpoena request for Jack's records. She forwarded it to legal, noting, legal action initiated. The team cheered quietly. Alex clapped her shoulder. You turned it around. That evening, Sarah met Victoria at a rooftop bar, the city sprawling below. Apex is backtracking, Victoria said, sipping wine. Your ledger's their lifeline. Sarah. Jack's next. Victoria smiled. He'll squirm. Sarah's phone pinged. Legal. Jack's lawyer requested a settlement. She replied, evidence review first. Her notebook gained a new line. Checkmate approaching. The week closed with Transcend stock stabilizing, vendors resuming shipments, and interns whispering her name with respect. Sarah sat at her desk, the ledger open, its pages a testament to her resilience. Jack's shadow faded, but the fight wasn't over. She sipped coffee, noting, balance in progress. The city hummed, and so did her resolve. Sarah Taylor stood at the floor-to-ceiling window of her newly appointed office on the top floor of Transcend Corporation, the Dallas skyline stretching out like a canvas of resilience on Tuesday, 30th September 2025, 2:54 p.m. The hum of the finance wing below was a symphony of order, a stark contrast to the chaos Jack Reed had sown. Her title, Chief Financial Oversight, gleamed on a polished nameplate, a testament to her quiet victory. The encrypted drive labeled Family Recipes rested on her desk, its contents now the cornerstone of Transcend's recovery. 8 million in fraud exposed, offshore kickbacks traced, and IRS compliance restored. Her notebook, worn but victorious, bore her latest entry: balance in progress. Yet the final act of this ledger-driven saga was unfolding, and Sarah intended to close it with precision. The morning had begun with a legal summons delivered to Jack's last known address, a luxury condo in uptown Dallas. The subpoena, drafted with her evidence, demanded his financial records, emails, and testimony regarding the Reed Solutions kickbacks. Legal counsel estimated a 90% chance of prosecution, citing federal fraud statutes. Sarah reviewed the case file, her ledger's logs syncing with Lisa's testimony and Alex's offshore traces. The $2.3 million diversion was now a smoking gun, its trail leading to Jack's brother-in-law's firm, a shell operation with no legitimate contracts. She emailed the board. Prosecution viable. Recommend action. Robert Hale replied within minutes. Proceed. Full support. By noon, the IRS agent Mark Ellis returned with a preliminary report. Your ledger saved us, he said, handing her a sealed envelope. Inside, a warning letter to Transcend, mitigated to a $50,000 fine, payable within 30 days, thanks to her compliance overhaul. Jack's cooperation could reduce it, Ellis added. Sarah nodded, knowing Jack wouldn't cooperate. His pride was too brittle. She forwarded the report to legal, noting, fine manageable, pressure on target. The finance team, now a cohesive unit, cheered as she shared the news. Alex grinned. You turned a noose into a lifeline. That afternoon, Horizon Logistics confirmed a $12 million contract renewal, citing unwavering compliance confidence. Vendors followed suit, their emails flooding her inbox with gratitude and renewed orders. Sarah traced the turnaround to her ledger's restored integrity, its data now synced with a fortified digital system she'd designed overnight. She logged each victory, her notebook filling with green checkmarks. But the real test came at 4 p.m., when Jack's lawyer, a slick man named Carter Hayes, requested a video call. Sarah joined from her office, Victoria Hale on mute, observing. Ms. Taylor, Hayes began, adjusting his tie. My client seeks a settlement. $500,000, non-disclosure, no charges. Sarah leaned back, her expression unreadable. Your client diverted $2.3 million, she said, her voice cutting. My ledger proves it. The IRS has his subpoena. Settlement's off the table unless he confesses and repays. Hayes faltered. He'll fight. Sarah smiled faintly. He'll lose. Clause 892 voids his actions. I hold the keys. Victoria's mute icon flickered, approval. Hayes disconnected and Sarah noted, settlement rejected, trial looming. By evening, 7:12 p.m., the board convened again, this time with external auditors. Sarah presented the full Apex fraud log, Lisa's testimony, and the ledger's irrefutable data. The auditors nodded, their report confirming. Fraudulent mismanagement by former CFO, liability $4 million. Robert slammed the gavel. Jack Reed is banned from future roles, legal to pursue damages. Victoria added, Apex is back, contingent on Sarah's oversight. The room applauded, a rare sound in these walls. Sarah felt the weight lift, noting, victory secured. The next day, 1st October 2025, Jack's LinkedIn profile vanished, replaced by whispers of a legal battle. Transcend's stock rose 8%, and a press release credited new financial leadership without naming her choice. Sarah declined, a permanent CEO offer, opting to consult remotely, her equity stake now worth $2 million. She moved to a sleek office downtown, its view rivaling Transcend's, and hired Alex and Lisa, building a team. Her ledger, now digitized and secure, became her legacy, a tool for others to learn from. Late that night, 11:45 p.m., Sarah sat with a glass of Merlot, the city quiet. Her phone pinged, legal. Jack had settled. $2 million restitution, 5-year ban, no appeal. She smiled, noting, "Justice served." The office hum faded, replaced by the soft buzz of her espresso machine. Above her desk, a yellow sticky note read, "In case they forget, I was the ledger." She leaned back, content. Big thanks to all you office warriors out there who've stuck with me through this saga. Subscribe to my channel for more tales of turning the tables. Hit that button and let's keep those former bosses sweating.